One common complaint against dispensationalism is that a futuristic view of Revelation, holding the book of the Revelation of Jesus Christ as prophecy, bypasses the original audience and causes the message to basically mean nothing to them. The argument goes, how could the meaning of Revelation be an encouragement to the early church in the midst of their difficulties and persecution if it wouldn't find fulfillment until at least 2,000 years have passed after their current generation? Therefore, the majority of scholars and pastors today will tell you that the judgments, and some even will tell you that the return of Jesus Christ in Revelation 19, all of that took place during the first generation of the church in the time of the fall of Jerusalem. They argue that to take the book as prophetic from our perspective today, it is still yet to occur, causes it to lose its importance for readers throughout the church age, especially in the first century. In Revealing Revelation by Amir Tsarfati, Amir is here to help the reader understand how future prophecies that may not happen until we die in our home in glory, how they can apply to us today as we look forward to the coming of Jesus Christ. If you have always found Revelation to be confusing, overly distressing, or just plain old unrelatable, Amir Tsarfati's book on Revelation may be just the book for you. Welcome to Rev Reads. If you want to discover more books that will help you to unlock what the Bible can mean for you, please subscribe to the channel in order to stay up to date with my most current reviews. Also, please like this video, share it with other people to help them know about Revealing Revelation. So the first thing I want to say about Revealing Revelation is that this is a book that should not be viewed as a commentary. It's kind of close to a commentary, but it really isn't. If you are teaching through Revelation or you're a pastor doing a sermon series on this book, you may find it helpful with some of your application, but I don't think this book will be overly helpful in your study and preparation. At times, Amir passes right over some of the difficult points in this book where you would specifically be going to a commentary to look for help, and so you'd find no information on it in Revealing Revelation. For instance, I think the most difficult verse in the entire book of Revelation is Revelation 22:11. He who is unjust, let him be unjust still. He who is filthy, let him be filthy still. Revealing Revelation just passes over that phrase without comment. What does it mean that the person who is unjust and filthy is told to just stay how they are? Why aren't they called to repent? Now, I think this is a dramatic way of telling people not to delay in turning to Christ, but that phrase isn't covered at all in Revealing Revelation. The second thing to know about this book is not a novel. This is not like Left Behind. It is not a fictional reimagining of what is recorded in the book of Revelation. So, if it's not a commentary, and it's not a fictional novel, what is it? I don't really know how I would categorize this book. The book isn't a commentary, but it seeks to help you understand what Revelation should mean for you without diving deep into what many would see as burdensome explanations. It's almost like having a sermon series on Revelation that's then brought into book form. Maybe Amir preached or taught through Revelation and then they turned that into a book. I'm not sure if that is how it came about. The one thing the reader should know going into this book, though, is that Amir is committed to a consistent, literal, grammatical interpretation of the text. A few examples. The 144,000 are really Israelites and not the church. The judgments are presented in a way that while Amir is not being slavishly literal, so what I mean is Amir allows the text to use imagery where John is clearly using imagery, but at the same time when that imagery is pointing toward a singular man who is an adversary of Christ, Amir will take that as the Antichrist. When a judgment speaks of ruining the waters of the world, Amir will take that as a judgment that makes the waters of the world become undrinkable. So he'll use the imagery, but at the same time, he's going to keep in line with what, in my opinion, is the clear teaching of what John is presenting in this book. He also holds to a pre-tribulational rapture for the church, as well as a distinction between Israel and the church. As Amir writes, you become an Israelite by being born into Abraham's family, and you become a member of the church through the new birth of Christ. He does his best to be honest with the text throughout from that perspective. And while there are several places throughout this book where I disagree with his take, for the most part, I thought it was very fine coverage. But the key for me when it comes to reviewing and judging this book is, does Amir help you feel like Revelation was written for you? Can you read the revelation of Jesus Christ after going through Revealing Revelation and then actually hold that book and say, this was written for me. It was written for the church and not simply for a people in a future age who are living during the tribulation. And I think that's really the purpose of this book. Amir's not here to explain all the details, but to help you today see that Revelation, the entire book, was written for the church age. It's written for you. So the place to judge the book is, does Amir help the reader feel like Revelation was written for us today? And let's be frank, we should all readily look for the revelation of Jesus Christ to apply to us in the church today, since it starts with letters, not to one, but to 7 different churches. This letter was obviously written as our hope for the events surrounding the return of Jesus Christ. So does Amir help us to see that Revelation is for us today? I think for the most part, he is successful at bringing each chapter home to the reader for this present day. And what this book is really meant for, in my reading at least, is if you are someone who, when you read the revelation of Jesus Christ, and you see this last book of the Bible as just frightening judgments for a future day, it has no bearing on the chaos that is your life right now. I mean, your life's chaotic enough as it is, going from one day to the next. You can't even get through reading all the prayers in your church's prayer list and covering all the needs of your family. So why add the chaos of the revelation to the chaos of your life right now? Why not just ignore it and stick with Ephesians or the Gospels? Amir helps you to see why Revelation is for you in your current life right now. Even if you believe you will be raptured before the sealed judgments are brought to bear upon the earth, your life should still be impacted by what will occur in those future days. An example from the history of God's people. The greatest Christmas passages come to us from the Old Testament. It's hard to beat the prophecies of the Messiah's coming from Isaiah 7 and Isaiah 9, especially Isaiah 9. That is one of my favorite passages in all the Bible. Yet those who first received those prophecies, they didn't see them come to fruition. Neither did their children or their grandchildren. I mean, if you think about it, in the time between Isaiah's prophecies and the coming of Jesus Christ, you would have the fall of the Assyrian Empire, the rise and then the fall of the Babylonian Empire, the rise and then the fall of the Persians, the rise and then the fall of the Greeks, and then finally the rise of the Roman Empire. Yet with all that went on between the giving of the Messianic prophecy and the first coming of the Messiah, what would have been the greatest benefit and blessing for the Jews of that intertestamental period? It would be to meditate on the coming of the Christ and to live in light of his coming. And Amir wants you in this waiting period to live in light of Jesus's second coming. And after Jesus returns, I believe we will all say in unison, you know, what was the best thing I could do in the church age? It would be to look forward for Christ's coming and live in light of his return. And for that reason, I think we're all would be wise to take a read through Revealing Revelation by Amir Tsarfati. This is a book that is very helpful for you both to understand the book of Revelation and bring it home into your life right now.